Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. It's Christmas time! Okay, I've figured out what I want for Christmas. A new snap! Mine's worn out! Anyway, it's the holiday season, of course, and this year we're beginning with the merriest of topics, the Clone Saga! Yeah, right in the middle of all the clone festivities, Marvel released a little holiday special for the web-slinger. Timeline-wise, this was made shortly after Ben Reilly officially took over as the Spectacular Spider-Man. Normally I reserve stories set during the Clone Saga for Halloween, but let's face it, Christmas stuff already starts too early, and we don't want it encroaching even more on the spooky season. This holiday special is a 48-page anthology with 5 stories in it. The first story, A Matter of Faith, was actually written by Glenn Greenberg, who is the primary person interviewed for the Life of Riley interview series about the Clone Saga that I've gotten a lot of information from, and he stated that this was actually his very first Spider-Man writing effort. Unfortunately, as is so often the case with the Clone Saga, an editorial mandate screwed with it, for better or for worse. We'll get into the details of it during the story itself. But otherwise, let's dig into the Spider-Man 1995 holiday special and get ourselves into the spirit of the season. Maybe that's who those 4 were. Spirits.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where Yuletide candles burn. Linkara's gonna give you all a present you've not earned. Nutmeg, you're not the brightest. Frank Miller, you're off the nice list. If you're a comic writer who misuses a license, your gift will be returned. Digging through the shelves for the kind of comic books that would turn Santa's elves into common crooks. He reads them and he weeps, while down the chimney creeps. Pajamas with a Marvel trade to watch him when he sleeps. Linkara, he built a snowman, now it has a hole. Linkara, 8 maids, a milking and a young blood troll. Linkara, only one Dickens homage away from going chestnuts. Linkara, this Christmas comic sucks.
The cover's okay, depicting a giant Venom opening up a present that contained Peter, Ben, the Human Torch, and a crap ton of tinsel. And wow, if the Human Torch was in there, tinsel is really that good at smothering flames. Let's test this theory! You know, jokes like that are the reason why episodes don't come out on time anymore. Anyway, I get the distinct feeling we will not be seeing these characters fighting a giant Venom in the book, which just feels like false advertising. Also, Black Cat is in this too, but she doesn't get to be stuffed in a giant present with them? Or, oh god, is the tinsel what's left of Black Cat? We open with our first story, A Matter of Faith, wherein we see Ben Reilly kicking a goon in the face. Although sadly, the artwork for Spidey here makes it look like he's actually pushing his ass out and striking a pose. Strut, pout, put it out. Or maybe, given the sound effect here, Ben is trying to advertise wet-ass Parker. Anyway, the goons were robbing an old couple on Christmas Eve. Back off, jerk! I ain't afraid of being the guy who killed Spider-Man! A gun? Oh dear, what am I to do? I mean, it's not like I ever faced down a gun before. He's cocky now, but wait for Dr. Octopus to come in wielding 6 guns. But yeah, Spidey takes him and the other goons down, handing the parcels back to the shocked older couple. Thank you, Mr. Spider-Man. Please, my father was Mr. Spider-Man. Call me Spectacular. Yes, and happy holidays to you and your loved ones. Thanks, I'll be visiting the cemetery later. Wow, I just made myself sad. Well, I'm not too far off. Ben thinks to himself that after 5 years away from New York, he doesn't really have any loved ones right now. What's more, because he changed his identity to Ben Reilly, he can't really call up any of his old Peter Parker friends to be with them either. But enough about that. And now, a dramatic retelling of how I think this next scene got made. Hey, have we had a scene of Spider-Man rescuing a woman on a bridge yet? No, I'm pretty sure I'd remember if we did that. Well, we gotta have that scene in there. Spidey rescuing a woman who fell to make up for Gwen Stacy's death. It's such a great idea for a scene. You are so right. I'm gonna get right on it. Yes, indeed. I was not kidding during the annual Clone Saga reviews when I said they kept friggin' doing this. Points to Glenn Greenberg, though. He doesn't have Ben go, "Oh no, not again, not again." He makes a subtle reference to it in a bit, but that's it. Anyway, yeah, he rescues this woman who's angry at him for the rescue since she was trying to commit suicide. Because I have no reason to live. I have nothing. I am nothing. No friends, no family, no job, no money. And today was the kicker. I lost the kicker for my fantasy football league. She was evicted from her apartment, and she declares that her life makes no difference. She could fall off the face of the earth without anyone caring. Ben empathizes because of what happened 5 years ago for him when he first thought he was a clone. No one around who would care if he lived or died, not thinking of himself as a real person with a real life, etc., etc. Listen, Jenny, what say we get out of here, okay? I've got this real hang-up about girls on bridges. Like, seriously, is there a sign-up sheet for women to do this? Is there a separate one for men? Jenny explains as they swing around that she came to New York to be a writer, but failed to find any work. All her money dwindled away, and losing her apartment was the last straw. Unable to take the idea of being homeless and anonymous, with no one caring whether she lived or died. That's where you're wrong, Jenny. No matter what you think, there are people who care. I care. Does that mean I can crash at your place? You could, but then you'd probably just vanish into the ether like all the other supporting female characters who keep being introduced. Before he can continue on, he notices a riot at the Manhattan Mall and asks Jenny to stay in a certain spot for safety while he checks it out. The cause of the riot is a supervillain, a minor one named Scorcher, who's in a new outfit and is trying to scare people into giving up their money with his fire abilities. Spidey kicks him. Who are you working for this time, Scorcher? The Grinch? I don't answer to anyone these days, Bugman. Besides, the Grinch won't answer my calls ever since he went out into space to search for Santa with the rest of his species. The fight continues for a while, eventually being forced over to where Jenny was supposed to be safe. Scorcher's blasts burn away some street signs and lamps, which fall to the ground. Jenny spots a homeless guy, who's apparently either deaf or so far gone that he has no idea what's going on since he's just standing in the middle of all this asking for some spare change, and she tackles him out of the way of some falling debris. Spidey finally takes down Scorcher and congratulates Jenny for saving the homeless guy. He states that she does indeed matter. That guy is alive now thanks to her, and she realizes that she can still make a difference after all. Sure, her situation hasn't really changed, but she wants to make her life count for something. And so our story ends with Spidey swinging off as he wishes her a Merry Christmas. It's a sweet sentiment, if a bit rushed in its ending, but here's where the editorial mandate issue comes up. Originally, Greenwald wanted Jenny to be dying of a terminal disease. He says he wanted it to be AIDS, but wasn't going to come out and say it in the story. Thinking she had a death sentence anyway, she would try to commit suicide, and the poignancy in the end would be that regardless of how much time she had left, she would make her life count for something. Bob Budiansky, who was the Spider-Man group's editor-in-chief, wanted it to be changed because he felt it was a bit of a downer since she was still going to die. Greenwald felt that Budiansky missed the entire point of the story, that we should all try to make our lives count for something because none of us knows how much time we have left. But it's uplifting because she's gonna make the most of it. But Budiansky insisted, and Greenwald didn't want to lose the chance to do a Spider-Man story, so he agreed to the changes. This is one of those cases where it's really up to the reader's preference. I see where both sides are coming from here. It is a bit of a downer. But then again, this version's still a bit of a downer too. All she says is she'll volunteer at a homeless shelter. And nothing else has changed other than her attitude. And unfortunately, a positive attitude doesn't really generate grocery money. Next up is a 4-page story without any dialogue, wherein Black Cat comes across some thieves who stole a bunch of toys from an orphanage. And clearly this newspaper article, probably by J. Jonah Jameson, was accusing Spider-Man of doing it, since it's in the opinion section and has his picture there. But then again, who the hell knows what was being said about it, since the article is actually just somebody rolling their hand across a keyboard to fill out the space. And it's a relevant commentary on today's society where everyone gets pissed off at clickbaity, terrible headlines without ever reading the article, which may not reflect the terrible headline. Though often it still does. Anyway, the cops arrest the thieves, but Black Cat is made off with the toys and returns them to the orphanage through the chimney. This is barely a story. Now let's move on to the Venom Claus. 3 days before Christmas, Venom comes across a charity Santa worker who was beat up by some punks and all his money got taken. Which punks? Who would dare assault a sidewalk Santa? Where are you from? Mars? This is New York City. Even the police get mugged. And sometimes the police are doing the mugging. Basically what I'm saying is they should rename this town to The Big Mugging. The guy is just the latest to have been hit by this gang, and the good Mr. Brock decides he needs to do something about this. As such, he dresses up as a Santa for charity to lure them out. And apparently, in addition to all the mugging, there are also assholes with megaphones complaining about Christmas. Don't listen to him! The Christmas spirit is dead! Keep your money! My dissatisfaction with the level of Christmas spirit means you shouldn't give to charity! Eddie tells him to piss off. Where's your Christmas spirit, fat boy? Christmas is about yelling at people to not give money to charity with a megaphone! You're just another phony, taking but never giving.
You're kind of an idiot, aren't you?
Eddie deals with him by taking the megaphone and shoving it in his mouth, which makes him honk like a goose, I guess. Damn it, Eddie, you just made it worse. Now his breathing is gonna be really loud. He overhears some people nearby being mugged and goes to intervene. The attackers beat him down, but only for a second. Yeah. But I want his cap as a souvenir. Hey, it won't come off! Turns out this isn't Venom, it's just some other symbiote whose outfit resembles a Santa suit. No, of course, this is just a false outfit created by Venom, and he morphs into his proper form. All of you will pay for your cowardly attacks on the innocents in this neighborhood. Not to mention the fact that to find you, we had to endure an afternoon of begging for donations. I had to pretend to support the Salvation Army, for God's sakes. Do you know how they treat LGBT people? They try to run off, but are quickly webbed up, save for one who pulls a gun. Let them go or you're cacked! You're gonna turn him into a caca-demon? He fires on Venom, the symbiote of course absorbing the bullets. Oh my, you shot me. You actually shot me. Damn it, I just bought this symbiote! He deflects the bullets back, having them blast the gun out of the goon's hand. I guess he can control where the bullets go. Venom plans to kill him, but the victims of the group step in. After what this animal did to you and your husband, you would beg for mercy on his behalf? Yeah, because I want to do it! Oh, don't mistake me for a fool. I know he's dangerous, but he belongs in jail, not dead. Please, let the police deal with him and his friends. After all, it is Christmas. People often forget the true meaning of Christmas. Not killing people. He agrees, since it's Christmas, but makes it clear that if they continue being crooks, he'll be less merciful the next time. Remember, we know who's naughty, and we'll put him on ice. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not shout. We're telling you why. Venom Claus is coming to town. But you're already in town. Next up is Companions, which there's not much to say about it. As a reminder, Aunt May was thought to be dead at this point in the Clone Saga, so here we meet a longtime Fantastic Four supporting character, Willie Lumpkin. He's their mailman. He was also apparently a romantic interest for Aunt May for a while, so him discovering May was dead is a bit of a bummer. But it's okay, because the ghost of May makes wind blow so that he meets up with another old lady who was at the cemetery and lonely. Ah, graveyard romance. Also, this is yet another cute moment ruined by the reveal that the Aunt May who died during the Clone Saga was some actress that Norman Osborn convinced to do this. Because we can't have nice things for Christmas. Although Willie Lumpkin can. Apparently in a Deadpool storyline he became immortal. Anyway, let's move on to our final story for the special. Merry Christmas, Mr. Storm. On the subject of the Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm is waiting atop the Statue of Liberty for Spider-Man. It's not like him to be this late. Probably just overslept. As such, he uses his flames to signal him in the sky. This ought to wake him up. Yeah, it also woke up a few birds who were flying south for the winter. And then cooked them. He thinks about how this is different from the last year, where he was the one who was late to their annual get-together on top of the statue. Here I am, freezing my webs off for half an hour, and you're in a warm bed dreaming of sugar plums. And this is comic book time, so who knows how long I've actually been up here? It could have been months! Johnny apologizes, saying how it's been a rough year for him. Got arrested, my wife turned out to be a Skrull, she died, she came back and tried to kill me, she was pregnant, she wasn't pregnant, I nearly burned a major university to the ground, my brother-in-law died, my sister's turning into a psycho. Oh yeah, and the woman I thought I married is in love with my best friend. So, is she a Skrull and pregnant too? Yeah. The two reminisce about how complicated their lives have gotten over the years and how it seems like things were simpler when they first started out. Pete offers to unmask himself to Johnny as a sign of trust and friendship, but he refuses, saying that it's enough that he knows he's a friend. And as a Christmas present, he gives Spidey a talking Venom doll. Because apparently they just make those in this universe. So I know Reed had died or something at this point, but did he never mention to Johnny that Peter might have some complicated feelings about Venom given the symbiote and all, and giving him a talking Venom doll might be one of the cruelest, most awful things you could possibly do, even as a joke? And I guess Peter anticipated Johnny's need for someone to vent to, since his present is a little model of the Statue of Liberty with his phone number written at the bottom. The two depart, and we return to the present, where Spectacular Spidey is arriving, confused about the summoning. He gets Johnny up to date on how he's a clone and not the original. Kind of a surprise, though. Is he still at the same phone number? No, he left town with his wife. I don't think they're settled yet. Hey, Johnny, I'll always be there for you if you need a friend. But not in a year from now, because I'm probably going to move away and not tell you. Man, we really need cell phones to be a bigger thing already. You know, you're gonna have some rough times too. Tell me about it. Here, in case you need to talk. Thanks. Wait, this is just a 10% off coupon for the Baxter Building's gift shop. And it's expired. And so our comic ends with the two departing on good terms, deciding to continue the annual tradition of meeting there on Christmas. Which I don't know if they ever did, because who knows how long Ben was Spider-Man in-universe. This comic is, overall, pretty good. Not great, but good. Like with any anthology, it's best to judge on a story-to-story basis, though I've got to admit that none of them are bad. A Matter of Faith is probably the best one. Good lesson, decent action, resonates with a time of year that's not necessarily merry for everyone, though it's got the problem of it feeling a little underdeveloped given Jenny's still homeless and penniless. The Cat Who Stole Christmas is probably the worst, but only because it's the shortest and has the least of anything to offer. No real action, the lack of dialogue seems like an odd stylistic choice for no real reason, and it barely feels like Black Cat is even involved in what little plot there is. Venom Claus is goofy, continuing on this trend of making Venom more of an anti-hero, but in the process almost making him a parody of himself. It's enjoyable though, especially when dealing with the jerk on the megaphone. What the hell was his deal? Companions is fine, nothing much to say. Willie has a brief rundown of his history with May, gets together with random woman that I don't think ever shows up anywhere again. It's just kind of meh. And finally, Merry Christmas, Mr. Storm is enjoyable in showing off the friendship of the two, though really it comes across like they didn't really have anything to say other than being a superhero kind of sucks. Especially since it's more about Johnny Storm's crappy year he had at the time over in the Fantastic Four book. And yeah, it's nice that they have such a good friendship, but there isn't really much else of anything to it. It's just kind of a sweet little story about buds talking to each other. The artwork in all the stories is fine, with some moments of in a couple of them, but nothing so egregious as to ruin them. Just a nice little holiday anthology. Next time, we head over to an indie book and a more holiday-themed superhero with The Adventures of Chrissy Claus. Not to mention the fact that to find you, we had to endure an afternoon of begging for donations. Which unfortunately resulted in all that money getting stolen when he ran away from his kettle.
Oh, hey! We're atop the fourth wall, folks. We've done it.
Who are we?
I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
I'm Tiffany.
Yeah, and we're Comic Pop. Check us out. Quick,
Yeah.
before Linkara notices
Subscribe.
we're here. Come
Do
on,
it.
subscribe. All right, bye.
What the? Snap us back, shall you?
That's a different guy.
Not even Linkara. That's Adam with a whoa. All right. Oh, hi, Atop the Fourth Wall. We're Comic Pop.
Comic Pop? You mean that channel that does back issues?
Back issues? What's that?
You're on it.
Well, could you explain it?
It's like a show
Yeah,
about comics,
Yeah.
and like there's a
The
person
people
on
who
it
talk.
Reads
who
the
knows
comic.
a lot about comics,
Yeah.
and then the other folk don't.
No.
Right. They
And
don't
then-
know it at all.
And then they ask questions
But if
that
they don't know about comics, why are they on the show?
well, because they get a chance to ask questions that normal comic book readers wouldn't ask anymore. That they take for granted.
Yeah.
You do it like all the time.
Right.
true.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Listen, if it were easy to explain, we'd have more subs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
Hello my friends, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon or purchase a t-shirt via Teespring or Shark Robot. Thanks for watching!